Hello, y'all. ASMR, 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 ASMR. All right, y'all. Hi. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Big Girl Problems podcast. How are y'all doing? I am your host, Big Chris. Yes, and I'm very comfortable because it is officially 2024. It is New Year's Day, and I am recording this. It has been at least a month since I've recorded an episode, but we're gonna do our best to change that. Right? I'm coming to you guys as comfortable as I can. I didn't put nothing on my face. I put a little concealer because I'm getting old and the age is starting to show underneath these eyes. That's just what I believe. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys took some time as the new year came in. I know, everybody celebrates the new year differently. Some people like to go out. Some people like to celebrate everything that they've gone through in the year. Some people like to reflect. Some people like to go to watch meets. I was a watch meet girl, watch meet baby, okay? Until I was gifted with the opportunity of choice in my life, I had to go to watch meets every year. I remember one of the most impactful watch meets, and I'm going to make this story quick, was the year that we changed over from 99 to 2000. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Because, I don't know if y'all remember this. Yeah, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you remember Y2K. Because we were probably, when Y2K happened for me, I was 10 going into 11 in 2024. So I was 10 when Y2K was happening, and they were talking about, oh my God, all the clocks are going to start over. Everything's going to shut down. It's going to be the end of the world. Y2K is happening. The Lord's going to come back at the strike of midnight in 2000. 24 years later, hey, we're still here. We're waiting on you, Lord. And I know you coming soon. For real, for real. We see it now. We didn't see it before. But anyway, I remember that watch meet, and we just praised on through into the year 2000. And guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. But I mean, that's just America. We like to hype stuff up. That's just who we are. Anyway, I was a watch meet baby coming up. So it is in my spirit naturally to pray the last minutes of the old year and the first minutes of the new year in together. I like to cover those moments in prayer and in worship and in silence and dedication to God. I always have. I always will. That doesn't mean that I won't, I'm sure there will be a year where I go and I celebrate. And there has been years where I've gone out and celebrated, but in my heart and in my mind and in my spirit, I am praying in those moments. As people are counting down, I am silently thanking God and declaring things over my life. And I will always do that until my last day. Anyway, Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys enjoyed the transition from 2023 to 2024. I was at home alone. And that's what we're talking about today. The problem with being alone. And it's not really a problem when you think about it. So let's go ahead and get into the podcast really quick so that I won't be before you long, because I got books to read. I got games to play. I got chill. I made me a seafood boil. I got a seafood boil to eat again because I ate it last night. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the podcast. So welcome to the Big Girl Problems podcast, the podcast for big girls striving to become strong, confident, and whole women, right? I am your host, Big Chris. I am here. I am just a woman who is transitioning from being a big girl into a woman. And I have all of these insights. I feel I have all of this knowledge and experience that God has given me. I'm not the most experienced, but I am experienced. And I feel like what I have learned and what God has given me will be an encouragement to you in your season if you give it a listen. So the podcast consists of 3 parts. It is a big girl check-in, and that's basically I just kind of share with you what's going on in my personal life or how I'm dealing with my emotions, the girl on the inside, and how I'm catering to her and how we are working together to be the best version of myself, and how I, advice on how to assist you in doing that. And then we have the topic at hand, the big topic. And then finally, I have a piece of music because I'm a big music head. that I share with you in order for you to be encouraged through music, because music encourages and heals me, and I try and find a song that is on topic for the time. So, hey, big girl, check in. How are y'all doing? How has the new year been to you? Huh? I know it's been hours, but last night I was by myself, and I'm so glad that I was by myself. I definitely had the choice to not be alone, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm just in this season of I'm really enjoying, and if you would have asked question, if you would have asked the Christian of 2022 or of 2023, do you enjoy being by yourself? She would have been like, I mean, it's cool. And if she was really honest, she would have been like, no, I don't really like being by myself, because then I have to deal with things in my mind. I have to confront myself. But this Christian that has gone through as much as she's gone through and has been forced to be alone through God's, divine orchestration is what I like to call it, enjoys. I'm surprised at how much I enjoy being alone. I have prided myself on being an extrovert for so much of my life and wanting to be around people and wanting to, always have somebody around. But I think I've been in denial, because I'm saying this because I would go out and I would enjoy myself. But then when I would go and enjoy myself, I would be like really foggy in my brain. I would be exhausted. I would end up having a really bad attitude at the end of it. And I mean, I would find delight in it. I would find joy in it, but there was no peace. And I think I'm an introvert, or I might be an ambivert, because there are definitely times where I enjoy being out and I love being around people. But those times now are few and far between. And maybe that's because I'm getting older. Maybe it's because I've been through so much and I just want to be alone. I love being alone now. And I'm not going to sit up here and say there's not times where I want company. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want company sometimes. Like, I have company, but I prefer to spend most of my time by myself. And that's what we're going to talk about, because I have spent so much time with myself. I think that's why I enjoy it now, because I had to do the hard things of sitting with myself and processing what it meant to be by myself and what can I do to fill in the time to find enjoyment, right? I think, I really enjoy being by myself, and I'm surprised. I never thought, especially college Christian. Oh my God. And the crazy thing is, and I'm going to get off this subject, but the crazy thing is, even in college, when I didn't like being alone, I was alone. I hated it. I hated being by myself in college. Like, I would go to the library and watch movies by myself and write reviews online and, do homework, of course. I mean, I would hang out with people, but then instead of being honest with myself and being like, okay, I'm tired of hanging out with people, I would hang out with people more, and then I wouldn't be able to do the things that I needed to do. But then towards the end of my college career, I was like, you know what? Let's just hang out by ourselves. Let's just chill. And I think that's where it started. And then I got married and had kids, and it was more difficult. But now that I'm co-parenting, I have opportunities to be by myself, and I'm grateful for them. So that is basically what has been going on. What else has been going on? Christmas happened. Christmas was wonderful. This is my first Christmas in my home. I hosted my brunch. It was cool. And then, this past week I worked remote and I caught COVID. Yeah, I caught COVID, but it's okay. I'm still recovering. Like, I wake up and I'm still coughing. Like, but it's only when I first wake up. But I was only down for like 2 days. Like, to where I had to be in the bed and not do anything. I was probably only down for really a day. And I worked that day. But I ended up getting into bed really early. Anyway, okay, that's enough. That's the big girl check-in. How are you doing? Please tell me in the comments how you're doing. I care. If you're a listener here, I care. Okay, I want you to know that. So tell me how the past month has been since we haven't talked. Tell me about it. What's been going on in your life if you're comfortable? Tell me how you're doing, especially if you're a woman that is going through a similar journey like me and you are transitioning in life, big transitions. Hey, let me know. Let's build a network. Let's build a community of women that can support each other in this, because if I had a community of women to support me in this, I know, one, I would have made better decisions, and two, I wouldn't have been so heavy throughout the journey, right? So let's build a community. If let's chat it up. Let's talk. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the topic, because we already 10 minutes in and I'm about to be out of here. 15 minutes. Okay. The problem with being alone, the biggest thing is like, listen. How else are you going to learn yourself unless you're by yourself? Hello, how are you going to learn yourself unless you're by yourself? I was at home yesterday, Sunday, and I was cleaning up my kitchen after church and everything, and I was like, man, I am by myself, but I am really enjoying myself, and I have learned myself so much by just being alone, and it can show up in a varying around. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, because I want to share with you how I've learned to learn myself while being by myself. And there are things that you can learn to do so that even if you aren't able to physically be alone, there are things you can do that will show you. Okay? That I have learned in the times where I'm not able to be by myself. Yeah, a relationship with yourself is the most important relationship outside of your relationship with God. Like, you got to know God so you can know when he's speaking and know when he's moving in your life. And then you need to know yourself in order to, one, receive what God is saying, two, move throughout your life in a way that makes sense to you and fulfills you, and three, interact with people. How you going to interact with people and you don't know who you are? How are you going to build relationships if you don't know who you are and your values and your standards, so that when you build these relationships and you start these communications and you start this, bond, friendship, relationship, coworker, anything, if you don't know yourself and know what you're willing to offer and what you're willing to give into that relationship, you don't have what are we doing? I'm at the grown age of 34 years old. I just refuse to let somebody tell me who I am. I done been through too much. I have gone through too many experiences for somebody to walk up to me and tell me, Christian, you're this way, and be okay with it. No, baby, I'm this way. You were mistaken. Or if that person does say something, oh, well, kind of. How about I tell you who I am? Because when somebody decides to tell you who they are, that means they already have you written off on how you move and what you do, and they try to predict your moves. And you can't do that with me. That's just me. You're not going to be able to predict me. Sorry. And it's not even a situation of like not wanting to be controlled. It's just I'm my own person. And if anybody should know how to handle and how to maneuver with me, it should be me. And then I should be able to communicate it, right? I should be able to then say, hey, this is who I am. This is how I move. This is what it takes to be in a certain space with me. Nobody else should tell you, oh, I know what it takes to be in a situation with you. No, let me tell you, or let's have a conversation about it. You might be right. You might be wrong, but who's going to get it right every time is me, because it's me. Anyway, friends and family are important, but knowing how to manage those relationships is the best way. Like I said, the best way to manage those relationships is to know who you are and know what you're willing to take and know how you're willing to communicate, so that when you have these interactions with these people, you already know what you're going to do. You already know who you are. You already know how you're going to move. You already know how you're going to communicate. You already know how you're going to act when you're interacting with these people, because you know who you are. And like any relationship, the more time you spend with yourself, the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to respect yourself. Let's talk about a relationship. Say you meet somebody and you might have, let's talk about like an actual like intimate relationship. So say you get to know somebody and you start to like them, okay, outside of them being cute. Outside of, I like the way you comb your hair, and I like the stylish clothes you wear. Outside of that, it's just the little things you do that show how much you really care. Like when I'm all alone with you, you know exactly what to do. And not talking about that down and dirty stuff. I'm talking like you get to know them. That's such a good analogy, because at first they were like, yeah, superficial, and then it got deep. Anyway, once you get in a relationship with somebody, you're like, oh yeah, outside of you being cute and tall and dark and handsome, you're actually kind, and you're observant, and you're wise, and you start learning this individual. And as you learn somebody, you start to respect them more, and you start to treat them differently the more you get to know them. This is what I'm saying. The more you get to know yourself, the more you like yourself, the more you respect yourself, and the easier it gets to be to love yourself and set boundaries for yourself. The more you know yourself, the easier boundaries get. The easier it is for you to choose you, because you know you, and then you love you and respect you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. Because one thing that has changed in my life is that, and I feel like I've said this in a couple of podcasts, like Christian has boundaries, and I'm still working on boundaries being like not too rigid, because boundaries are new for me. And with anything you first started off, when you start something out, you're always on like the deep end. Generally, people are on the deep end when they start off. So it's like, yes, I'm starting boundaries. No. But as you start to find your balance in that, and you start to be like, okay, well, I can do this and still be here, and I can do this and still have space for me. Like, one thing that I've learned, because I've learned myself, like, I love my family. I love being there. I love being helpful, and I love interacting with them. But I also love my time. And I have learned I've had to build the respect around myself and my house, and then give that to my family and my friends, right? Because I am the oldest, and I was one of the first people to get their own space. A lot of times people would come to my house to escape mom and dad's. If you're the oldest, you know how this goes. I'm going over to blah, 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 so I can actually speak my mind and feel a little free. That's just how it be sometimes. Parents, don't be mad. Don't be upset, mom and dad. And I hope that you would want your kids to come to somebody that has the same somewhat mindset, because you taught me, and can still kind of guide. Anyway, that's big sibling woes. But I've learned to be like, okay, y'all, yeah, I can be there for y'all, and I can, do things for y'all. But I also need my space. Like, that was one of the biggest things that I had to learn when I moved here into my own home. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, this was before I really started digging into what it meant to spend time and be alone. Like, I'm like, when I first got here, I'm a woman, and this is my own home, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm by myself, and there's nobody here with me. I'm a little scared. Child, I ain't scared no more. Get the F out my house. I welcome the creaks and the bumps and the knocks, because I know it ain't nobody here but me, and if somebody else here, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But I'm not speaking that into existence. But I got the divine protector over me. Anyway, and that, just me saying that just speaks to how far I've gone. That was one of the first things that I was so afraid of when I was at my mom and dad's, and I had just started my journey. I was like, if I'm going to be by myself, I'm going to be so afraid. Who's going to be there to protect me? Me. Me. I'm going to protect me. God's going to protect me until God provides a new protector and provider. Huh? Me. And that's what I do every day. And it's just so crazy to see how far I've gone. Anyway, I've come. Boundaries, they're very important. And, everybody's like, man, I need to set boundaries. Why is it so hard for me to set boundaries? It's easier to set boundaries when you know and love yourself, because you respect yourself and you know what you need to thrive. And that becomes important to you because you've spent time with yourself, right? I know that I need time to just lay down and do nothing. I know that I'd like time to read. I love reading. I know that I'd like to have time to play my game, but I have not. And I think that I'm judging myself because I'm older and I shouldn't be playing video games. I'll get past that anyway. I like making content. And when I'm by myself, I create my podcast. And, I just like being by myself. I like dancing in my kitchen to music while I'm cleaning up. I like talking back to my TV when I'm watching TV and I ain't got to worry about nobody telling me to be quiet. I will be listening to music and I will be hype, and then I'll step outside of myself and I'll see myself vibing, and I'm like, I had this moment yesterday. I was like, why would you not want to be my friend? And that sounds so like self-absorbed, but you're not going to get it unless you get it. Okay? So if you're dealing with, not honing into who you are and embracing who you are, it's going to come off as self-absorbed and stuck up and full of yourself. But if you're in a space where you've learned to love yourself, listen, I am dope. I'm fire. I am I am a vibe. I am funny. I am animated. I am silly. I am smart. So I always have something funny to say. I am dope. I love the Lord. I'm always looking for an opportunity to pour into you. I pray. I cook. I'm artistic. I'm curious. I am a good person to have in your life. And it has been a long time coming for me to be like, I'm dope. And that doesn't mean nobody else is it. That just means I am. It means that's what I contribute to society. And you don't learn those things about yourself unless you sit with yourself and practice mindfulness and have opportunities to where you step outside of yourself and you just look at yourself and be like, look at how I live. Look at how I work. Look at how I love. Look at how I dress. Look at how I interact with people. And you start being like, yeah. And if you don't, you're like, all right, well, I want to fix this. And then you fix it so that you can love it. Right? You fix it so you can love it. Anyway, how do you find time? Like I said, that's easy. Just practice mindfulness is one of the biggest things. Practice that mindfulness. Time management is really important. What you consume matters in terms of how you love yourself. Okay. I saw this one on social media, but I was doing it before I even saw it. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I'm a single woman. I want to find love again. You know what I'm saying? And I saw this on social media one time. They were like, well, stop listening to all of that. If you're recovering from a heartbreak or you're recovering from something, you want to have love in your life again, stop listening to that. Oh, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm a strong black woman. That's fine. But listen to men singing how much they love you. Baby, not that song, because that's like infidelity. Lately, have I told you I love you? You're my lady. Like songs that make you feel like you're loved, right? And I'm not talking about physical. There are just love songs out there, right? For you, I spend a lifetime of love. You are me. All you need is someone who cares. I hope that you're the one. If not, you are the prototype. You know what I'm saying? Like songs that will, if you listen to music, songs that'll make you feel like, I just want to love you. That's not a song. I just sang that. Books, romance books. I love romance books. I've been back in on my romance book kick, And then books that help you, like if you know that you're dealing with attachment issues, read about it. If you know that you're dealing with insecurities, read about it. If you know that you need to heal from trauma, read, consume, heal. Do the things like healing don't just pop up. You know what I'm saying? You got to find it. You got to seek it and then do the work that it takes. You don't just wake up healed. If you want to be healed right, you don't just wake up healed, right? Anyway, I love y'all. I hope this was helpful. And that's that on that in terms of being alone and how I've learned to be okay with being alone. I really enjoy being alone. So let me find a song for you and get on up out of here. Spent the year trying to get you to love me. Put your needs high up above me. All night talking on the telephone. Listening to you crying about being alone. So this year's gonna be about me. Never will I have another reason to doubt me this year. This year. This is by Emily King and it actually came out last year. This was my song last year, but it works. It's the new year. How about we make this year about us? And I'm not saying, like, if you in a relationship, keep your relationship. If you're married, obviously, stay married if it's working, But let's focus on us. This year's gonna be about me. Never will I have another reason to doubt me this year. Listen, let's focus on ourselves. What makes us happy? What makes us feel fulfilled? What do we need to work on? Let's make this year about us. I hope that encourages you. I love that song. That song is, the premise of that song is like, yeah, I had this person and I really cared about them and they didn't care about me. So this year it's going to be about me. But like, if that's true for you, cool. If it's not and you just like, man, I got lost in the world. Got lost in my life and really haven't had that good old one-on-one time with myself. Let's do it. Let's make this year about us, our relationship with God, our most important friendships, our passions, our dreams, our goals. And don't like go hard. Like, be reasonable with yourself. Set out some goals that make sense that you can actually adhere to. That's what I did. I've done my planning already. I'm going to pull out my tablet again and get my month in order so that I know all the things that I need to do for January and all my non-negotiables that will push me towards my goals, because I have big bullet points that have to be done this year, because this year's about me. Yeah. All right, that is it. I love y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Lots of prayers and well wishes to you as we embark on this new journey that is 2024. Now, I pray that this even number year come in here and act like it got some sense. I'm going to tell you something. Ever since this decade has started, these even number years have been effing me up. 2020 is self-explanatory. 2022, I left my marriage. 2024 need to come in here and act like we got some sense. Okay? 2024. Let this even numbered year allow us to level set for the rest of our lives. I have been struggling for 2 years. I need this year to come in here and show out in the best way. Okay? Lord, please. All right, I love y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you guys next time. I am praying for you guys, and I hope that you were encouraged and inspired. And let's make this year amazing. Let's not sit on our hands. Let's do something great with our lives. All right. Love y'all.